Africa is known as an aid-dependent continent. Is the aid given to African countries helping Africa?
I don't think we should depend on it. I think aid cannot be sustainable cannot sustain a country's development. We need economic partnership. We don't need aid. In it, we're finding new ways. Through that, we're finding new ways, and I think it's going to come. So it's a time of hope after some time of pain.
Choice. Yeah. I will just take you a few years back. I know you to be a very passionate African, proud, like you said at the beginning. What informed your choice of career?
As a young Nigerian, I grew up in Nigeria, the oldest of seven brothers, and just a sister. There were two girls. I grew up in the Niger Delta, educated parents, but one a teacher, one work with the government, not that economically there. I think I would say my parents were very clear in terms of their expectation for me, for all of us. So that's a beginning, clear in the sense that I had a role to play in the family. You know, I was the oldest. I think being the oldest was perhaps one of the first training I had in leadership. There were expectations from being the oldest. But something that touched my life as well, and it's not about, and something that actually took it into the bigger sphere, was my encounter with an organization called, it's now called Initiative for Change. You know, and there I was exposed to a philosophy that the choices you make in your life, you know, has an impact in your immediate environment and even beyond that, you know. And before that, I'd always in university challenged system, criticized system, thought the government could do it better, but never thought that I have to mirror in my own life changes I wanted to see in the world. That's what got me. Passion, my life was infused by passion, recognizing that if I wanted a world that questioned, I had to question myself. If I wanted a world that was led by the right motivation, I had to check what motivated me. So I cannot, you know, I cannot fight for a world that I'm not willing to, a world that I'm not willing to let enter me as well. I need to, it's a two-way thing. So that challenged me. The passion has not ended. I'd always had some burning need to use my life meaningfully, but I think Initiative for Change led me to it. It led me to switch and it opened a kind of international world for me, and I met like-minded people. Then worked as a journalist for years too. So all that came to play as a journalist and all. But bottom line is, I learned that I could make a difference, you know, and everything flowed from there. Everything flowed from there. I mean, I worked in South Africa. We worked in the whole. I participated as a young Nigerian then in the whole referendum in South Africa in 1992. That was the year. It was March, and it was my birthday. I'm going to say it will age me, but I think it was my 23rd birthday, 22nd. Oh dear, that's years ago. And I went with a team of Nigerians to South Africa to participate and watch and in a way observe and hope for a peaceful referendum to end apartheid. They were voting then to end apartheid, and we went to Guguletu. I've not, you know, and went to Soweto to the crossroad. What is it called now? You know, we went into the community and basically to gauge, you know, the mood there, to participate and support South Africa, you know, in fulfilling a peaceful process in that, and learned. I think that too changed my life, because we ran into a group at that time who were espousing violence, you know, in ending it. If it doesn't go, yes, we were going to take up arms if we had to. We were lucky to be able to dialogue with the blacks as well as the whites and the different groups there in South Africa. That was a great opportunity. We were welcomed in terms of what we had to say in different ways. So we saw, and that again was a reflection for me. It actually enhanced my passion more, because I did not believe in violence, but I did not believe in not speaking out either. You know, when you don't use violence to get your way, when you're facing opposition, what do you use then? Passion perseverance, persistence. What tools do you use? That again, I grew in that. As in my early 20s, then that's where I developed. I can be very persistent and resourceful. And sometimes colleagues have wondered, you go at it. You go at it, because I learned that I don't do it violently, but the other extreme is that it doesn't mean I let injustice thrive. And in some of the forums we spoke then, they challenged, if you don't, I said, no, we absolutely do not believe in violence, and we absolutely will not condone injustice. So what do you do then?
Nigerians are very outspoken. What was it like to be out there in South Africa at that point? It must have been very hair-raising for you.
Oh yes, we drove in from Zimbabwe through the border and went into a community called Zerost. In Zerost, we saw two blacks fighting in the daytime with a knife. One had a knife. The violence in the black community was shocking. But we had to brief white groups as well then. It was so funny. We were shocked. I mean, they thought it was actually a privilege that we were there. And they would tell us things like, you don't understand the blacks in South Africa, they are different. We were so outspoken, we actually feared for our lives at one point. It was a challenge to be there at that time, but the country has done so well. The country has been able to emerge from it and come this far, which tells us again, and they didn't do it through violence, But I think I go back to that because that was a particular time where I was confronted with those choices. How do you, in the situation, because there were South Africans who were clear they were not going to live white South Africans, they don't believe in white and black South Africa living together. And they were not going to vote yes, they were clear. So in situations like that, if it had been a no, what would have been the options? We were asked that in some of in the Google letters, where we were briefing, especially the youth, what happened. So that was another career shaping moment. The work we do, the world is huge. The work we do takes us to many places, like, you've worked in the same area too. With me, it's hard sometimes to pick some of the key moments because there are many. It could just be, we spent time in Lesotho too at that time with the late Queen Mother as well, around looking at mainstreaming women in peace building, in peacemaking, which I would call creators of peace. So I was winged through that as well. As a woman, I suddenly realized that I actually had a bigger role to play in my home as a wife, as a mother, as a peacemaker. I mean, it just opened my life up to different roles and different levels. So there are many multitude of experiences, and it has been a journey.
Part of that journey is that you live in Kenya. How are Nigerians received in Kenya?
I love it here in Kenya, as a Nigerian. I lived in England, Canada, and the United States in the early to mid 90s when Nigerians didn't have that good a reputation. Apparently, there was this issue of the Nigerian fraud, the Nigerian scam going around, and we see that on TV. So I had lived that. Everywhere I go, I defend Nigeria. We're not all like that. It's a country of almost 200 million. You can't judge the whole country with a few. I did. I lived abroad in that time. I came to Kenya and Africa, living in Kenya. Suddenly, is the youth, especially the younger generation Kenyan, by then I mean under 35, love Nigeria and Nigerians. They love the culture. They actually love the outspokenness and boldness of Nigerians. They love the music. And I think to a large extent, the movie industry has done that. The Nigerian, Nollywood, the movie industry has opened a world to Nigeria. And Nigerians are unapologetically African in their cultural expression. Our accent, the way we speak, and mannerism are close. And it's been embraced beautifully, fully, and joyfully in Kenya. So walking around as a Nigerian is a joy. The doors are open. Because immediately I say I'm Nigerian, then the Kenyans have a comment to throw at me. Oh, how you day? Because they've seen it in the home videos. And that opens, so it's an icebreaker. It opens up conversation. So it's great. It's great living here, I must say, as a Nigerian. I've been here 4.5 years. And in the UN, you get posted around the world. And I'm hoping I still stay. It's been a home for me. It's been very welcoming for me.
You served under Idi Amin. How was the experience serving under Idi Amin?
It was one of the most difficult tasks for anybody that was a career civil servant.
So it's not just about African print anyway, it's a mixture of them both. And why the Touches Africa was there was that it was during the African Fashion Week, and I was just like, let me just put a touch of Africa.
And I can see in your home that you embrace African art and culture.
Yes. We come Africa, yes, we have challenges, but we must not forget. Here is a beautiful continent with riches. Everywhere the smell, the air is full of vibrant colors and all, and it's captured. We have a growing genre of art. You know, we have some artists who are growing bright and capturing that beauty, the whole colorfulness of Africa. And I buy them, I support them. You know, my home, every corner, like you say, it's full of art. I love it. But it's not easy for them. You know, it's not, we still have economic challenges here. So sometimes how do they sustain their art, you know? So, but where I can, I do support it because I think it's beautiful.
Talking about the next generation, what sort of Africa would you want your lovely son, Jason, to inherit?
Oh, an Africa without conflict. An Africa where art thrives. An Africa where we live in harmony with the environment and we have beautiful environment. An Africa that lives in harmony with nature, as it's always done. An Africa that has found its path to development, that is self-sufficient. I want my son to inherit an Africa that is not dependent on aid. Africa needs to break that dependency on aid. That branding, Africa is being branded as a continent of recipients of aid. And what it means is that you come into the continent, the image, it's like you're selling something. What do you want to buy? It means you're selling an Africa for aid, means you're selling an Africa of pain, an Africa of conflict, an Africa of a needy Africa. We participated in selling that because we think that's our role in the international realm. I don't want my son to inherit that. I want my son to represent Nigeria, whatever African country, sit on the table internationally and put business proposals on the table, discuss international relations with calm and boldness and not beg. I'm hoping for an African that will not beg. You know, bottom line, but I think we will get there. What gives me joy is that I believe we will have that. I believe my son will have an Africa that is not dependent on aid. Not as bad as it is right now.
Now, Choice, in rounding off, how does Choice Okoro like to relax?
I love dancing. I think one of the gifts in the world is music. I love dancing and I sing. I used to sing. Don't tell me to sing, but years ago, I used to sing. I love traditional Yoruba gospel singing. I do it. We did it together. We didn't sing. We didn't have a good voice, but we all sang joyfully. I enjoy doing that still, but I enjoy dancing. There are a few places here I go out to dance with my friends. Sometimes I stay indoors and I dance with my son. So music, dancing, and art is the way I relax. I love friends. I have friends visit a lot and I enjoy cooking. Cooking relaxes me.